The Clay Township meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for coming, everybody. A copy of my supervisor's report.
The first one, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna need roll call after I stop bothering Cindy.
Sandy Kufel. Here. Chris O'Regan.
Here.
Christy Hilton. Here. Artie Bryson.
Here.
Cindy Valentine. Here. Joanne Shirkey.
Here.
Mark Bouchard.
Here. Okay, everyone's here. First thing on the agenda, we have bills payable, a total of $91,660.97.
Make a motion to approve bills payable, $91,660.97.
Support?
Okay, we do have motion and support. Any discussion or questions or?
Just a question on illegal fees under building and grounds for $4,000.
That's one from Fahey.
Yes, Schultz.
Yes.
Fahey Schultz. Professional services.
FD, what's FD mean?
For the fire department.
Union negotiations.
Yep. Any other questions?
Nope.
Or concerns? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hilton.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine. Yes. Joanne Shirkey.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Sandy Kufel.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have public comments. Does anyone want to come on up, Midge? State your name and address, and not that we'd already don't. Well, I know you.
I do too.
My name is Midgie Fannin. This is John Fannin. I live at 5446 Green Drive, Parsons Island. I've been a resident there for 24 years, and it's been a while since I've been in front of the board, and it's nice to see all the new faces. So thank you all.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm here, don't want to be a disgruntled homeowner, but for the last 10 years, there's been a neighbor of mine by the name of Mr. Randell, I believe his first name is Fred, who owns a property 4 doors down from me. This property, we have complained in our neighborhood to the board, to the blight committee, to the code enforcers about this property. It is in total disrepair. There is no tieback on it. It is not boarded up. There are holes in the roof. There is a window open. It is infested with wasps and hornets. There is no fencing around the property, and it is a corner lot that opens up into the marina right next door. It used to be the Albice Marina. I don't know what it is right now. I've been trying to download my pictures to give you an idea on how bad this property looks. It's not a safe place for anybody or anything to be there. And it's not quartered off either. The bridge that goes over the canal is open, free to use. The other main concern is about a month, it's been a month now. My sons were coming in from fishing in the evening, and we come around the canal, and there was a light on in one of the outhouses on this property, and there were 2 people in there with the light on. So, to me, that is a very big concern. First of all, we're talking about homeland security. You've got a marina that is not in full utilization, let's just say, right next door to this open property. There is no reason why someone cannot bring a boat into that marina and get onto this property and do whatever they need to do. The very fact that it's been like this for 10 years, and we have brought it to your attention. and nothing has been done. Now, I have been in contact with Mr. Pratt. He said there is no law, but if I don't want to use the word law, there are codes, there are ordinances that need to be followed. We follow them as homeowners. We take care of our property, and I expect Mr. Franzel to do likewise. Now there is a home down the way listed for $800,000. That's less than a quarter of a mile from me. And then 5 doors from me, I've got this home, quote unquote, that is just an unsafe place for anybody to be there. The other thing I wanted to make mention is that my taxes, I know what they go for, and I'm happy to pay them, but I'm not paying taxes when I have to live 4 doors down from somebody. Now, I don't know if he pays his taxes or not. I don't know if he's still homesteading there or not, but I think something needs to be done. It really does. And even though I've sent a letter to Mr. Pratt and to Artie, I just need the board to be made aware that I'm tired of it. Mr. Bergdahl's tired of it. Mr. Benson's tired of it. Mr. Kathy O'Connor is tired of it. Leonard Linden is tired of it. We've all complained over a 10-year period, and nothing has been done. So I guess I'm have to deal with waiting. I don't have a whole lot of years left in my life, and I'm staying where I am, but I want that house taken care of. And if it's not going to be taken care of, taken to court. And I'm more than happy to do a class action lawsuit against them. If that's what it takes, that's what needs to be done.
Okay, thank you. I do know that property. I'm sure you, well, I just want to tell the board too. I know we took action against the dangerous building route because he had to open windows and stuff, and he fulfilled the requirements as far as that for our building inspector. But there's definitely, he's a frequent flyer. It's an ongoing battle, and we'll look into it.
I would appreciate it.
Okay.
I'd like some response too.
Yep.
We complain, but we never get
Right.
a response. What are you doing about it?
Right, yeah.
You know?
And sometimes we always can't with the action going on until, there's a process. We gotta let it take its process, but,
No? Okay.
but yeah.
We've got 10 years, behind it
Of
now.
processes, yeah.
So we need to move forward.
Okay.
with that.
All right, thanks a lot, Midge.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, how are you, Art?
Good.
Hello, everyone. I am Linda D. Kaiser. I live at 7323 Riverside Drive, a proud Clay resident, I might add. I want to thank all of you for your hard work. And I just have a couple questions tonight on a couple quick things. I was wondering if, first of all, I'd like to comment on the bridge. I don't know if you've been over, they've completed the bridge on Merrill between M29 and Marina, and it's beautiful. The crew, the company you chose, did a great job. Some of the neighbors are gonna go underneath it to see because it's all wood, and they're intrigued that it's all wood because it was steel, but wood is supposed to last a lot longer. All the neighbors have done their research now since you've had the company do it, and it looks great, and everybody's happy.
Good.
So I wanted to ask, on the corner of Marina Drive and Riverside, there's two ladies that, I think they're two sisters that live in a house on the corner lot, and their canal dead ends right where their house is. So these two adorable ladies hand raked all these weeds, because as you know, our runoff is now underwater because of the high water. So they're all along the road because they're trying to dry them out. But the problem is that the yard waste, we have to take our yard waste, as you know, in Clay Township down to the yard waste facility ourselves.
On Muskrat Run.
Right, right. So I'm wondering, if we can get someone to pick those up or from the township, because those ladies don't have a vehicle. I Did you get that back?
Well, we never really had it. Problem is with that, and I get asked that question a lot from the board too. The St. Clair County doesn't allow or accept, St. Clair County landfill does not accept yard waste. And we really don't have a place to take it to compost it. And I've talked to the county about that. It's actually more of a state law that they're trying, and I think Smith's Creek, they would actually want to do this because it creates methane gas, the composting it, and they have they tent it and they have generators that capture that gas and we sell electricity back to the Edison up there. It's pretty cool if you see it. And I know the county generates about $800,000-900,000 a year by doing this, and they'd actually want to be able to start taking yard waste, but right now the state doesn't allow them to, and we don't have a place to do that. So that's one reason.
So Algonac gets theirs picked up at the curb. Who does Algonac?
They take it somewhere, and I've tried to find that out, and I know it's very expensive. I did talk to Mterra about it one time, because Algonac's pretty well condensed, and they don't have the volume, and Clay Township's spread out. Algonac's about 1.5, 2 square miles maybe, and we're 80.
82.
And it would be a lot larger task. And so yeah, there's issues with that. And I don't really like the solution we have, but it's the best that we can right now. I'll get with you later. I'll get the address. We'll take a look at it and see if I can get someone on there. We got someone doing some community service work for us. Maybe that's a solution.
I think I could probably get some of the other neighbors to help
Right.
load it if we could get it back out, just
Okay.
to take it to the yard waste, because those ladies
Sure.
put all that out so it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
They did a lot there, so.
And we've had a lot of issues with weeds in our canals this year. I'm not sure why, but
And then, Artie, I think I asked last time, are motorboats allowed in the marsh?
they are, but they have to be no wake.
Okay, so the boats that I've seen are not no wake, and I'm concerned because I see kayakers.
Right.
And now the Phragmites are real tall.
Mm-hmm.
So
Blind curves.
who do we talk, like?
Sheriff Marine Patrol.
Okay, that's
Sheriff
on
Reed?
April
Yep.
or March, okay.
Yep, it'll be Lieutenant Reed is in charge of that, and I can get you their phone number too, or if you look it up in the phone book, there's a 794 number.
Okay, and then, the motorboat, okay, so I sent you an email about this, the cell phone towers in Clay, like say for instance, the one that's at the launch.
The launch. My computer died.
Is the launch technically Algonac or is that Clay?
The DNR launch?
The DNR?
That's Clay.
That's Clay.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
probably.
Homeland Security tower,
Oh,
camera.
Okay. 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 Do you know when, okay, so next up, so we're gonna say the blight, and I just saw on the news that another community had this fake tree kind of design put onto the cell phone, or the tower, so.
Really?
I'll find the article and I'll forward it for the
Yeah.
board to look at, so it doesn't have that blight look,
Mm-hmm.
and to keep the aesthetic.
Yeah, I got a thing in my supervisor report about that too. It's kind of interesting.
You're saying, I think that's happening.
Well, a problem with our towers. So,
Okay.
I think Troy
And then
has
last quick thing, what is the ordinance on working on Sunday for roofing, pouring concrete?
there isn't one.
Okay. Is it possible the township?
Something we could look at. I think what she's getting at is sometimes, but the problem is you have weekend warriors that they can only work on their house on the weekend. Doing construction, your next door neighbor's doing construction while you have a little party of soiree going in your backyard type thing. Am I right?
Right, or you work all week and you.
You want to have peace and quiet, and you got the saws going. Right.
Growths or cutting down large trees.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
of it. So
Yeah.
maybe before noon, some type of ordinance, maybe, there's something.
Right. You guys used to have a homeowners association over there, and you don't anymore, and that could be handled a lot easier through that type of a thing too.
Don't
But
you want some peace and quiet on Harson's Island?
never.
Okay, I'll try the homeowner's route again, but.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Consider,
Mhm.
see what other townships are doing,
Yeah.
at least before noon?
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yep. And I'll get with you with the address for the lady. Well,
Okay, for the
Yeah.
ladies, I'll get that for you.
all right. Thanks, Linda. Any other public comments? No more public comments? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Consent agenda. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the minutes of the board meeting of July 10th, 2017, and synopsis, the check reports, June assessing, police report, code enforcement report, the road watch notice, communication, we had a resignation from A. Osterlin effective 8/17/17, and a request from the fire department to elevate firefighter M. Hoag to the safer position.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Anyone need anything pulled out or any questions on anything? A. Osterlin is our intern from the high school that we hired, and she's going off to college, so good for her.
Does the position get replaced?
Yes. It's going to be replaced further down in your agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I'm in that kind of a mood today. No other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, supervisor's report. And I'm going to start off by this past week, and I want to give everyone a warning. It's been a challenge for me. I'm kind of a computer guy, and everything's on my computer. I got hit by a virus. I think, what is it? They call it the
Ransom.
the crying, makes you want to cry virus, and it made me cry. And I'm just, if you get an email from someone you don't know, do not open the attachment. And what happened with me, I actually had someone call me, and it's just a coincidence, on a Monday of actually 2 weeks ago now, about, hey, Artie, is the township hiring somebody, blah, 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 I'm new. I says, you know what, email me your resume, I'll keep it on file. So it was like Wednesday night, I'm just ready to go home, I see an email for someone, and the resume. And it was a .doc file, not a zip file or anything. And I opened it up, and boom, all my data is encrypted. And yeah, I was looking like that. And I won't tell you what I was saying. And so I literally got my computer back just today. It took that long to fix it, and it was a real challenge. So do not open any attachments from people you don't know. And I was mad at myself. I'm thinking, okay, it's a coincidence. This lady sent me her resume, and it basically changed the names of all your files, and you can't open a thing. So
I guess you should expound on the fact that if residents email us,
yes.
call us first to let us know that you're sending an attachment, because
Or-
chances are we may not open it,
Yeah.
especially after that.
Yeah, it was like I say, a real challenge to me, and so I literally scrambled.
And how many emails?
And that's probably why I didn't get your email then. I'm just saying.
Because you always reply.
I know, I normally do. And so, I had a meeting with the county road, and this is with these towers. We have a potential problem with companies working in the right-of-ways of the road. In the past, like Semco and DTE, they did all their own work in the right-of-ways. Well, they're getting third-party companies to do this work, but, and it's not, they don't do as good of a job, I should say, as sometimes as the regular utilities companies. But we're having a new issue. They're expanding a wireless network throughout really the whole country. I don't know, have you heard about this, Jeff? The 4D network is for driverless cars. And so they're putting antennas up, everywhere. And the state regulations really gives the locals very little control about where to put cell towers and how to control them. I mean, it's very little control. And it hasn't really started happening here, but up north in like Lapeer and a few other counties north of us, they are actually putting like 60-foot towers, literally 2 and 3 feet from the road edge. And it's a real potential. I think it's a safety hazard for the road and anything else. So we're actually working with the county to draft some type of legislation that will give us some control, at least in the road right away, on this new network, these cellular towers. A lot of them are a lot smaller. They're like a 8-foot pole or something, and they daisy chain them. But it's and we're concerned too, because we have water in our sewer and things that run in this right away, and they put in a pole and they could nick our water main or our sewer main and something like that. You may not know it's damaged for a few years, and then you have a big sinkhole. Ask Candace Miller, So it's a potential problem that we're working on, and hopefully we'll get it resolved. I just want to let the board know that it's could be an issue, and we've been working on that already. Actively seeking some public access spots on the Krispin Blueway Trail on Harson's Island, and had some good conversations with County Parks and Rec and Mark Brochu there, and I'm going to have a lot more information coming on that soon. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm also going to try to get a Friends of the Krispin Blueway Trail, and we want to be able to put in a couple structures to make it a little easier for portage over the Krispin Road, and then in the DNR one too, and just it won't be a very intense group. I have a lot of people that are interested in serving on that already, but I wanted to make mention of that. There's a lot of people using this, kayaking there already. You see a Midge on there? You see them a lot. There's a lot of people using this already, and I think it could become a real attraction to our area. So, and like I say, the birds and the Audubon people, yeah. So anyhow, we're going to be doing some work on that, and I have started talks with the auditors about our upcoming audit. We got a couple of meetings set up. And that should be rolling here in a couple, 3 weeks, getting that going. I wanted to tell the board I'm working on putting a design together for the food equipment in the concession stand in the park next door. I got a list of equipment that I think we want to put in there, and kind of a design. I've been working with the health department and a few vendors on getting that ball rolling on that. So that's mostly going to probably be taken care of through the DDA, I'm hoping, and I'll be going before them. See, there's no list of importance on these things. July 27th and 28th, I'll be gone for training. This is coming, Thursday and Friday. And Chrissy and Anita will be also in training July 25th and 26th. Tomorrow you're leaving, right?
Yes.
The clerks liked it, so it was good. Pickleball. Pickleball nets, we have one up and a second one going up at the high school. at their tennis courts. We converted 2 nets into pickleball nets. The second one may be done. And we have one going up at our basketball court. The far one is a temporary net, so they can use it for pickleball. If they want to play basketball, they can pick it up and walk it over and put it on the side. So hopefully within a few days, we'll have 3 pickleball nets in our township. Still working on obtaining some free labor through the Michigan Works program. And Michigan MI Works, they have a deal where they will give us free, no cost to the township, employees to do things. And we cited we need someone to help with clerical things in the fire department, and also a light maintenance between the Township Hall, the police, and around here. And the criteria is for the employees, they have to be, I think it was 59? I think it was 59 and lower income. And basically, MI Works pays for it all. It's no cost to the township, but they're under our direction. So I think I got an email from them. I haven't opened it yet, so don't know.
You're scared.
I've been challenged.
Hopefully there's no attachment.
Yes, I know. Yeah, okay, my computer. And like I said, we mentioned, we've been dealing a lot with the union negotiations and a few other legal matters the past couple of weeks since our last meeting. I did want to mention, for Linda to mention it, the Merrill Bridge is more or less done, and the project went very well. And it is under a lot. I had a lot of questions. You know, why didn't they do it using cement? It's a wood bridge, and there has been a lot of studies, and I know other people checked my facts. The cement bridges typically last 60, 70 years. What happens, the metal, the reinforcement, rusts out from salt. The wood is lasting 80 to 100 years, they say, and it's more flexible than the cement. It doesn't crack up. It gives a lot more. And this project originally was estimated about $850,000. I think, my God, it's a lot of money but I think it bid it out around $600. It's still a lot of money for a 40-foot thing. And I'm kind of proud because with the federal grants, it was a lot of work. Federal grants and state grants, matching grants, and we got some grant money from the county. It ended up costing the township less than $3,000. So it's a $600,000 job cost, and without those grants, it's our bridge. You know, we'd be responsible for it. It's I don't have the price yet because it's really a big, long, convoluted formula, but it will be under $3,000. Oh, and I did want to mention too, I talked to the foreman and the county inspector on 2 different occasions, and they said, the foreman said, they've been doing this for 20 years. You guys like this. And never in their career have they been so, you know, usually, you know, people are complaining, oh, we're taking so long and everything. They've had so many compliments. They've had people drop off coffee, water. We won't mention about the couple cases of beer that was dropped off. But someone brought a cheese and cracker meat tray for them, and they have never seen a community treat them so well as that they did back there. So that's kudos to Colony Isles subdivision. Seriously, they were overjoyed. Music in the Park, we returned to Clay Township last week, and we got they didn't show up. I got to find out why. I gave permission for the Boy Scouts to sell raffle tickets. They're auctioning off some kayaks. And also the Elginak Clay, I call them the Hysterical Society, but we all know who they are. They are hysterical. They're selling raffle tickets there. And the Rotary does 50-50. And this last week, a representative from the U.S. Tennis Association set up a net, a temporary a net for the little guys, and he had all the kids over there playing tennis. He had rackets for them. George, he's a great guy, and I don't know, what do you have, at least 10, 12 kids, and they had a blast, and he loved it too. I want to go back to the Merrill Street Bridge. We did have concerns about underneath the bolts hanging down on the bottom of the bridge, and also there was a timber for reinforcement that was a little bit concerning. I was more worried about snowmobilers. When there's ice, a snowmobile underneath it, and someone catching a bolt or something. So they cut them all off, made them flush, and they put reflective material on the ends of the timber that was hanging down for safety. So they didn't have to do that, but you know, because they were
Crackers.
because they got crackers and stuff, they did it. So music in the park. Last weekend, Saturday, there was a couple good events. I just wanted to highlight them. The Historical Society, they're celebrating their the Hysterical Society, I'm sorry, celebrating their 25-year anniversary, and they brought, part of that, they brought in Miss America 10. It was in town by the museum, and it was there for 2 days. And it was, I tell you what, it brought a lot of people from out of town. I visited it, and it was just, it was a nice display. That was the weekend before. This last Saturday was the boat for vets, it was called. We had our police boat there. I put my boat in it. We had about 125, 130 vets that showed up for this, and it's a great event. All the vets are there, and we probably had about 50 boats, people that donated their boat, and all the vets, they signed a waiver, a liability waiver, and I had a couple in my boat, and we take them for a 2-3 hour boat ride. Took them all the way around the island, and then it was from the idle hour, and we go back to the idle hour, and they do a really nice lunch, and they talk, and it was really special. I probably talked to about 6 or 8 guys from World War II, and it's just a really special event, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year, and let me tell you, it puts a different perspective on things, and I'm very appreciative for all these guys and what they did in their service. But that was special. I just want to mention that. And we did have some issues in the cemetery. We are spending more time, and it looks a lot better than it did 2 weeks ago. It's not where we want it to be. The grass did get away from us over the 4th of July week. We only worked 2 days that week. Had a lot of rain, and instead of cutting grass, we were actually cutting limbs, and we had a lot of trees down from some windstorms. So that's getting better. And I don't have all our upcoming events because my computer died, and so that's it for Supervisor's report. So that being said, we have no unfinished business. New business. First thing, we have the Randell Foundation request to operate park concession for fundraising.
No, Ms. Randall is unable to be here this evening due to some family obligations, but if the board would like, I can speak on her behalf.
Sure.
She did submit a letter to operate concessions during music in the park. I think 1 or 2 dates she was looking at, not all of them. She has a foundation that sponsors and runs events throughout the year so that she's able to issue between $2,000 and $3,000 in scholarships to kids at Algonac High School. And they rely on donations to help run their events that they sponsor, which are getting few and far between. So the request to run concessions is to help offset those startup costs for some upcoming events she has going on. It is not intended to fund the scholarships or any donations that they hand out.
The dates, I mean, July 27th, that's in 3 days. My only concern is that the Algonac Rotary's been actually doing it for 4 or 5 years, since Music in the Park pretty much started. And I think the Rotary's assuming that they're going to be doing it the 27th.
question, Sandy, if you don't mind, the scholarships, do they have some criteria that they give to? Is it
Yep.
based on athletics?
It's based off GPA.
GPA.
She gives out 3 of them a year. One of them is for an alumni of our youth football program at the high school level. I don't remember all the other qualifications anymore, but yeah,
I know
there's.
they have to do
They have a
community
committee.
service.
Community
They have a committee
service.
and-
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, there's a committee that gets together and selects 3, usually 3 of them a year.
Something here that Artie said, the July 27th one, that's in 2 days, 3 days. I think that's pretty quick to try to,
Not if you know Miss Randall.
Well, the problem is,
But-
the Rotaries already assume that they're going to do it.
No, I understand that.
And they already have stuff over there.
Understand.
Do we have a township policy as far as who fundraises out of there for events that go on?
No. It's been kind of loose. The Pearl Beach Lions was doing it initially, and they lost interest in it, and the Rotary kind of took over. And the Rotary does a lot for the park. You know, they bought a lot of benches and stuff in the past, and they also have scholarships and everything too. So, you know, I don't. It could be. I mean, if it's sitting empty, it'd be no problem, but it's not.
do you think it would be in our best interest to have some kind of committee? I know when the park first started getting going, that they were going to, you know, let people do different things, and like you say, some of them petered out, but that down the road, there could be other organizations that might want to have a day or two.
Yeah, well,
That,
yeah, I mean, I think I shared what my vision is. I mean, to actually get some good equipment in there and have it open at least 5 days a week. And if that happened, we do have somebody that would, you know, actually run it and give 20% or 25% back into the Parks and Rec budget if that's what the board wanted to do. You know, I mean, I'm foreseeing, you know, putting about 15,000 in there. Between 10 and 15,000, we got to have a 3-compartment sink, a hand sink, a couple slushy machines, some refrigeration, some freezer. Thinking about doing pretzels, nachos, and, you know, stepping it up. And the advantage of that is, too, I'd like to have some equipment in there where people could check out, like if they, a basketball, some horseshoes, even bocce ball or something. You know, hey, we're at the park, but we don't have anything, and you know, whoever's running the concession could actually check it out, and you know, volleyballs and stuff, and you know, and keep more eyes on the park too.
I think we have to look at the fact that it does cost us money to maintain that park.
Oh yeah,
The grass cutting, the equipment will wear out,
Yep.
and eventually here, the water park will need some work done on it, things like that. So we have to look down the road for that, so.
Excuse me, Cindy, is there a reason that they didn't try to schedule this at the pavilion? And why it came on so soon?
Schedule what?
Instead of using the concession stand over here, they could have rented the pavilion.
She
Is it
did
the
ask
same
me
thing?
about this prior to the season, and we had thought at that time that we would have our own concessions up and running there. So I think this was kind of spurred from her attending and seeing that, you know, it still was just being done by individual groups that were fundraising.
Well, since the Rotary Club has it already scheduled, again, we're looking at a couple of days here. I think it would be up to the Rotary Club to say, yeah, go ahead and, if they want to give it up or not. Just a suggestion. Makes sense to me.
How many dates are left? There's what, 5?
there's got to be 4 more
4 more
concerts.
concerts. So maybe allow Pam to have one of those at the end or something, or down the road. You know,
Yeah,
but in the meantime, look at something so that we just don't have fundraisers, that we get something back for our park.
right.
Too.
Well, that's why I'm,
think,
you know,
yeah.
we're you know,
Yeah.
I have the DDA interested in putting in some, you know, stepping up a couple notches, you know, have some ice cream in there with the freezer, and, I mean, it's definitely opportunity there that we haven't been taking advantage of, and, I've actually been working on it the past couple, 3 weeks. I had the health department there, met with them, try to get things going as far as that. I was happy to see they actually said that we were not required with the menu that we're talking to have someone with a food service certificate in there. So that's a big, I was concerned about that, you know.
As this park continues to grow and thing, I think we really need to have some kind of a policy.
Right.
Order.
Yeah, I think, you know, I understand that you have an informal agreement with the Rotary, so this week would be a little bit short notice for them, and I wouldn't want to necessarily mess up and completely make them upset with us, but I would make a motion to allow the Randall Foundation the use for the August 10th event. And my suggestion would be that we have a board policy for next year in case we don't have the concessions in place to schedule who utilizes for the music in the park.
So you're concluding all of that in your motion, that she does the 10th, and that we start working on a policy?
That's pretty quick to get a policy and,
Well,
Well,
No, policy would be for next
not
year.
be policy,
Yeah.
so we start working on the policy
Okay.
and keep it up
In
in
the
the
event
forefront,
that
yeah.
Township does not have somebody running concessions, a policy on how we're going to address this for upcoming events, music in the park next year. There's only 4 weeks left. So I think if we provide Ms. Randall for the foundation with August 10th, I don't think we'll be out at terrible and somewhat fair.
I guess we'd have to know what she's going to serve or do. I mean, we have to make sure that it follows the health
Well,
You know.
let's do this. Support.
support. Okay, we have support.
Now let's open up some dialogue.
Okay.
Our agreements with the Rotary, they're very, we'll call them unofficial.
Yeah,
And the fiscal generosity of the Rotary as they sell concessions is on their accord, meaning that they give what they want when they want? Is that the
yeah,
understanding
they've
right
done
now?
picnic tables and benches. They get matching grants from Rotary International to do that.
Okay.
So it makes sense versus,
But there's no, like, fiscal denomination of X amount of proceeds right now are
No.
going to be back and put
Right.
back into the park?
no, and they also do the little free libraries,
Okay.
yeah.
And are they scheduled to do the rest of the summer?
They were planning on it, I know that.
Okay.
So is that 2 weeks? And that Randall will come in 2 weeks
It'd be
from now? 2 weeks?
2 weeks Rotary, 1 week Randall Foundation, and then the
1 week,
Rotary.
and then the Rotary. Okay.
Yeah, I think we give it a shot. I'm supporting the motion at hand. I don't know that we have really anything to lose since we don't have any formal agreements. I do love the idea that we're going to
Look
get on
into-
top of this a little bit.
Yes, I think so too.
The cost to run that park will
Yeah.
continue to rise
Yeah,
as
and
equipment ages.
you know, I'm
well, I would
not,
think, excuse me, I would think that we notify the Rotary first before we make a decision on it. Just out of courtesy, nothing else.
do we have a meeting between now and the 10th? Yeah, we do.
It's the
Sixth,
7th.
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 Well, right now, there's motion and support, so we have to,
Right. I was going to say, I could notify the Rotary and we can bring it back under unfinished business on the meeting of the 7th.
7th.
Yeah, well, we don't want to bend Rotary's
No,
knows out of joint. I appreciate them running it.
right.
But fiscally, if there's donations involved and really nothing else, then I don't know that this is that big of a deal. What do we
No,
really
it's
got to
not.
lose? I mean, I appreciate the Rotary running this.
Right.
I'm sure that's a huge service to the people using the park.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not breaking any rules here.
No. And quite honestly, that's one of the reasons we get a lot, we get more people at the concerts here than at the Elginak Park. And believe me, it's beautiful sitting there in front of the water, but we probably almost double. And a big reason is because of that concession.
Concessions?
So, you want me, are we ready to call a vote?
Sure.
Okay. All in favor for allowing, what's the motion of the Randall Foundation using the concession stand August 10th? Is that it?
August 10th, and board to work on policy regarding the use of concessions.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anyone opposed?
Nay.
I'm going to oppose too. I'd like to, I just wanted to postpone it, but, for the record, but, okay, it passes 5-2. Okay, 2, administration, we wanted to elevate Diane Baranowski to full-time effective August 21st, 2017. She's been working part-time, and this is going to fill the gap when our Abby, our intern, goes off to college. And I only have part of my right up here, but Diane's been with us almost a year, and she's been a treat to work with, and she's got a pretty good understanding of the day-to-day operations, and she's really great with the customers. So, and it is budgeted for her to go full-time. I had it in the budget, so we wanted to bring that to the board tonight, and I'm recommending that we elevate her to full-time effective 8/21/17.
Is that a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion that we elevate Diane Baranowski to full-time effective August 21st, 2017.
Support.
Okay, motion and support, lots of support. Any discussion?
Yeah,
I've-
who is her, I'm sorry, Shirley?
I'm Joanne.
I'm sorry. I've done that since the day I was,
That's fine.
Miss Shirky, I'm very sorry.
You don't have to be. I've talked to Diane several times as I come through into the office, and she's just a pleasure to talk to. I've watched her work with the clients that come up to the desk, and she's friendly and just a very positive person. And I like that, so I think she'll be good for the front desk up there. That's all.
Artie, does Ms. Baranowski, is she your direct report?
Does she what?
Does she report directly to you?
Actually, she's under Christie.
Okay.
Well, I sure do see her a lot every day.
What's her title?
Treasury Department,
Yeah, just
administrator.
administration under the Treasury Department. She mostly does water billing, am I right with that?
Yeah, she does the upfront admin for.
Yeah. She's usually our first one on the counter, collects money for taxes, water
Phone
bill.
calls.
Phone calls, lots of phone calls.
Okay.
About slides being too warm when it's 90 degrees outside in the playground. And,
Support.
saying.
Water's going down.
Yeah. So, did we get support? Yeah, we got
Yes.
support. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. Third, we have the treasurer's certificate of deposit. You want to take it away, Christie?
We have 2 certificate of deposit accounts that reached maturity in the last 2 weeks or so. So I attached the current rates. And the general fund, we can roll that over to another year-long term. And then the Colony Water, there's discussion that those funds will need to be accessed. So we're looking at a 90-day term on that account.
I'll make a motion to approve the current recommended general fund term investment for the certificate of deposit at 1.35% and for 365 days, and as well with the Colony Water Fund certificate of deposit at 1.1% for 90-day term.
Support.
Okay, any more discussion on that or questions?
What's the penalty for early withdrawal?
Withdrawal?
I'm not sure what the penalty is. I think it's calculated by the number of days that are remaining in the term.
Probably standard,
Yeah.
I would think.
We may be looking at expansion of the Clay Township Water Department. Right now, Colony Road, it's private water. They own their water main, and we're looking at doing some work down there and getting turning it over actually to a municipality thing. We're getting numbers together. In fact, I had talks Friday and today with their association. So that's why we kind of wanted to leave that at 90 days right now.
Oh, okay, all right, that makes sense.
Because we want to access those funds for that project, right, Jeff?
Perfect.
Is 90 days too quick? Can we do 120? 120? I would go 180. Well, we're not talking big difference.
Can you repeat that so the people
Yeah.
at home?
What,
Yeah, you just
Jeff,
said-
he's actually the engineer. Come on up, Jeff. Put you on the spot.
I would suspect that if the project moves forward, that it would be a winter bid for like the spring or summer start.
Right,
So we have time,
yeah. So we'd be safe at 180, right?
Yes.
Okay,
from today, yes.
Yeah,
okay. I'll make a motion that we renew the general fund?
Rescind that one.
The Colony Water.
Well, the Colony Water CD at 180 days, the interest rate of 1.2%, whopping percent. And our other CD at 365 days at a whopping interest rate of 1.35.
Good thinking there, yeah.
We already have a motion in support, though, for
Oh,
something
do we?
different.
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just said you didn't hear me rescind the motion.
No. Oh, you did rescind?
No, I
But I can amend it
Okay.
amend it, or whatever word we need to make this,
from the new information.
yeah, right.
Are we thinking 180 is sufficient?
Yeah.
So I will amend the Colony Water Fund to 180 days at a rate of 1.2%.
I will still support that motion.
Yeah, motion and support. Any other discussion? I don't think we know. We can, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval zoning amendment for parcel 74-14-397-0008-500.
These are actually map amendments.
Yes.
And that's the one that is from C2 to C3?
Correct.
Yeah.
And how these work, just so everyone knows, they go before the planning commission, and the planning commission has public hearings on them. and they make their recommendation and approve it. Then from there, it goes to the St. Clair County Planning Commission, and they also do the same thing and look at it and approve it, St. Clair County. Then it comes back to us to do as we see fit. And like I say, it passed our own planning commission and the St. Clair County Planning Commission.
Do we need a roll call vote for this?
I was going to do a roll call vote.
I think, good idea.
So does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion that we approve the zoning amendment for parcel number 74-14-397-0008-500, which is rezoning the parcel to, from C2 to C3, and this is a map change.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Kristi Hilton.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Sandy Kufal.
Yes.
Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have zoning amendment. Basically the same thing, but it's parcel 74-14-054-0005-001. And it does the same process. And this one's going from, I had it,
Right.
RS1 to R1.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the zoning amendment, parcel number 74-14-054-0005-001.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Sandy Kufal.
Yes.
Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Kristi Hilton.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have some work orders for the St. Clair County Road Commission. These are all ditching, and quite honestly, I'd like to do more ditching than these. They kind of told me depending on their workload, they'll be able to get these done. And depending on how they do, maybe we can get a few more done. It's something that, actually, if they can't, I might even be looking at maybe doing a little outsourcing from the county at some point in time. But they do have the right equipment to do it with their grade all and everything. I think it would be more efficient to have the county actually do it. Plus, we get some match money from them.
Yeah.
But we have the 3 work orders.
Now, do we have match money for all 3 of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Do
so-
we know what it is?
Yeah, we'd probably pay out half of all these totals.
You want them all together? Or
Sure.
you want?
Yeah, if you want them all together, I can give you a grand total. If you want them itemized, that's itemized. Now, the grand total for all 3 of the projects, the catch basin Phillips Drive, 7286, Bar Harbor ditching and culverts, 38,672, and Fruit Road ditching, 9139, comes to a total of $55,097.
Support?
Yeah, motion and support, and like I said, there's a catch basin in the Phillips Drive. That one's 7,000. It's not only the catch basin, the culvert going under, but it goes all the way through someone's private yard to a seawall, so that one's a little pricey. We got to put a new culvert then, and Bar Harbor ditching, that road needs it bad.
That's got 3 culverts.
Right, but no, it's the ditch.
Yep.
And the 3 culverts.
And the 3 culverts, right. And Fruit Road ditching also needs it, so. These are the worst in the township. I know there's others that need it, but these are, you gotta prioritize, so.
That would be the south side of Fruit, starting at 3311.
When is the start date and the completion date on these?
We don't have them yet. We gotta get the work orders signed and then they'll schedule it, but it will be done this summer.
More cookies and meat trays? Cookies and meat trays?
Yeah.
Keep them chugging?
So do we have a motion? I'm sorry, I'm not.
Motion and support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
Sandy Kufelt?
Yes.
Krista Regan?
Yes.
Kristi Hilton?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have the renewal of the online, it's called Leads Online for the police department. And this is a tool that they use and quite successfully, I might say, catching some criminals once in a while, so. I think, was it third year? This third year we've had this, and I recommend that we go ahead and do the renewal.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it's a motion.
Support?
I have motion and support. Is this a contract? No.
It's a
The
line item.
invoice, okay.
Invoice.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Chief, what other municipalities have the same database or same program?
Most do.
Most do? And we can't piggyback off of one another or anything like that? No? Okay.
Actually, it's quite lengthy, and it's something that you need to study on a continuous basis because multiple cases that you're working, so you gotta have actually username and password and that in order to access anything, so.
And is that accessed constantly? Or,
You can access it anytime.
I'd like to see
And
that.
it's consistently updated by your scrapyard, pawn shops, things like that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that at some point in time, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Chief, can you give us some idea of the success rate or how often it helps you guys facilitate investigations or?
I would say like within every other week, we're hitting somewhere on it.
We use this for B&Es. That's what it's really good at. So don't take things. We will catch you.
So you say you access it at least once a week?
Oh, probably almost every day.
Every day, okay, just for TV land, because they can't hear you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just so everyone knows, it's a database at all scrapyards, pawn shops. They're required to enter things in there, and we can run searches on multiple different ways to see,
Sounds good.
so, and sometimes we catch something that was taken 6 months ago. Am I right?
Correct.
So,
If the entities comply with putting the stuff in the database.
This
And
is
that's a hard one.
this is a budgeted item, correct?
yes. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have the maintenance for the police phone recording maintenance renewal. And this is also a budgeted item, $3,169.62. Can't really bid this stuff out because it's their equipment and you gotta go with them to do the maintenance, so. This is,
You want a motion?
yeah, I was gonna say, I'll make that a motion that we renew the phone recording maintenance renewal through Van Belcom for the amount of $3,169.62 to hit line item 207-000-932.
Support.
Motion and support. Any more discussion?
Chief, we have 3 either maintenance and or renewals. Is it safe to assume we have these annual? There'll be an operating cost every year?
Yes, and they have been for several years.
Thank you.
How often do they come out?
As
I mean-
far as on the system?
Yeah, as far as the reliability of the system, I mean, they out every week, every 6 months?
System is very reliable. However, it's one of those things you have to have in place just in case.
Okay. Does this cover labor and parts or just labor?
Generally,
Both?
Covers labors
as
and,
long as it's not a direct fault of us or something like that, which really wouldn't be, they cover it.
Mike, you got one more. Why don't you come up here so we can all hear? Instead of talking back and forth.
And we're done. No.
No, we're not.
You know, I know as far as the maintenance agreements go, with everything we got over there, they kind of maintenance agreement is a depth. Unfortunately, it's part of the business with everything and all the technology that we deal with. I do, as far as like the Van Vulcan one, you know, I went back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth with them. I was able to decrease it by almost $600 by just haggling back and forth with them. I try to do that with each of the vendors that we work with. The thing is, unfortunately, is the equipment that we have has to be maintained by the people that install the equipment. Otherwise, there's not going to be a warranty on the car. So we're kind of stuck. When you shop these things, you shop the best price and the most reliable out there, because when it comes to the recording system that is recording our telephone lines, our 911 phones, as well as all of our radio traffic going over police and fire. So, and these are things that are being subpoenaed and requested for court proceedings on a daily basis.
It's important not to let your systems falter. That's for
And
sure.
if it goes down, we don't have the maintenance agreement, we could wait a long time for service.
Right, with this.
They're 24 hours.
They're 24 hours, and if there's an issue, we're right back up and running. And we generally don't have much problem.
So they're responsive and
Stay there.
Yeah, we have motion and support. Any more discussion? Any more questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the maintenance agreement for ID Networks. And this is our large system. This is what we actually updated last year, right? The record keeping.
Fingerprinting.
Part of
Yeah,
that's correct.
you're right.
That's modular, yes.
And, you know, it's our CAD, our mapping. It's probably the largest item we have over there. Yeah, it is. It's our backbone. And it's a maintenance agreement with ID Networks for the amount of $9,530. Taken out of line item 207-000-768.
Support?
That will be a motion, yes. We have support. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Chief. How was camping?
Thank you.
Get back to being normal again.
Yeah. We smelled the campfire.
Welcome back.
Okay, let's see. 10th thing, we have the 10th is the code enforcer. Jim Prati said we wanted to address the board on concern that he has. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay. How's this, Julie?
That's good, Jim. Talk loud.
Yeah, speak up.
Speak up.
I will. When the board last discussed this, I wasn't aware that I was going to be on the agenda, so that's why I wasn't here. I'd like to clear up a few things if I could. When I was hired in here in 2012, I was hired by Tom Kruger, and as you know, Lisa was the clerk, and when I started, within the first couple days, you know, when you do the introduction and then you fill out the paperwork and stuff, I brought it to her attention that I was a retired policeman. I want to carry my firearm. I had this position back in '99 and 2000 for about a year and a half, and I carried my firearm then. It wasn't a problem. Lisa said she would check it out with the Townships Association. She did. And at that time, the board they used Township Association as a recommendation for everything. And that's what I was told. And they said there wouldn't be a problem. She checked with the insurance, no problem. Tom said, no problem, so away I went.
Did it ever go to the board then?
No.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I talked to Tom. He remembers, but he said he didn't remember it going to the board. And I said, I don't think it did.
Right.
But he said at the time there wasn't a rule against it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't know, that handbook didn't,
We
I
had,
wasn't even aware of the handbook.
we had a handbook that everybody was supposed to have had, and in it was no firearms,
Yeah,
to my knowledge.
I saw that
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yeah. Well,
But anyway, he said,
Yep.
because I was a retired police officer and I had a permit to carry anywhere, I can go anywhere that the police can go. He didn't see a problem with it, and it wasn't a big deal. So I've been carrying my firearm while working, although I don't carry it on every inspection. I have it with me, and there are some where I need it, or I feel I need it. There's some hostile places I go to. But anyway, it was, I don't walk around with it showing like our previous code enforcer did. You know, I don't know. He irritated a lot of people because he walked around with his guns showing all the time, and whatever. You know, that's his prerogative. But in response to some of the comments that were made at the meeting that I wasn't here, I don't need training as a police officer. I'm not asking to be a police officer. I've already done that. I'm done with that. So I don't need taser training or anything like that. I just want to carry my firearm that I've had for over 30 years. I'm very familiar with it. I want to carry it when I'm working. I've been threatened. I think some of you know. And it's just for my self-defense. I've been carrying a gun since 1973. You could see that here when I joined the police department in Detroit. So I've never had an incident. I'm not John Wayne. I don't run around playing John Wayne. And let's see. When I'm out on the road, I have a cell phone, my own personal cell phone. If there's, you guys know that there's dead areas in the township, and if I get in trouble and I got to call on a cell phone and there's no signal, I'm screwed, you know. And if there's a hostile situation where my life's in danger, then I could be more than screwed, you know. So you got to take that stuff into consideration. I do probably 98% of the people I deal with, I have good reactions with. You know, I have a very positive personality. I treat people nice, in spite of what that lady said last time. And we'll talk about that, I assume. But on occasion, I have to write tickets, and people don't like getting tickets. And, you know, my tickets can be up to $500, and no one's going to like that. And when they see me after I've written them, I haven't written a $500 ticket yet, and I hope I don't have to, but if they're not going to be happy with me. I don't have the luxury of a marked police car and a uniform and stuff like that, and a badge. This is how I go to work. And sometimes I had people follow me out to the parking lot. When I pull in, they're waiting for me. And I don't think it's unreasonable to ask to do what other people are allowed to do. Joe Citizen is allowed to carry a gun. I don't see why I shouldn't be. And then there were some questions about insurance that I brought up to Cindy, and I haven't talked to her today to see if we got any answers on that. But I think you could or could not insure me. That would be your prerogative. I have insurance, and if if someone tries to do harm to me and I have to shoot them, which obviously we don't want that to happen, I don't really, that's the last thing I'm thinking about is insurance.
Right,
That's all I got.
okay,
You don't have to decide tonight.
right.
I've included with the handout, the state law that applies to self-defense. Very clear.
Just so you're aware, Jim, because you weren't at our last meeting, and I understand you may or may not have known that Artie had put that on the agenda, but with regards to the training that was discussed, the statement from the insurance company stated that the zoning officer would be required to complete the same annual firearms training as other armed law enforcement officers. So it's not that we needed you to be trained as a police officer again, just so you understand when we were talking about training, that was in relation to the policy coverage even being binding, in additional to the additional policy premium.
And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the county that issues the CPL, then the state, you make a provision for retired police officers that they don't have to do that.
Right, for the coverage that we would have to get for you to carry.
Okay, I understand.
That was a requirement from the insurance company.
And if I understood right, it was, they wanted $1,000 a year or?
Yes.
Approximately. I was gonna get some clarification on there, because I had a little problem with that, with the insurance company. Do we pay $1,000 for every cop that we have? I don't think we do, but he would have to go through the same training and everything. So I was gonna actually question that a little more with our insurance company.
Yeah, if they're charging you for me, what they would charge a regular police officer, that's not right at all.
And I'm not sure if they realized if he was actually a retired police or not. I can't remember if that was in my email to them, since I don't have my computer.
Are there any other communities around us that have code enforcers that are carrying?
The nearby ones are all the building inspectors, and often they're not, but, I haven't really personally checked. I know the guy in Port Huron, I used to work with him, he's a retired policeman, he carries his gun.
Yes, your email to staff, not to interrupt you, Jim, but did indicate he was a retired officer and holds a CCW.
Okay. It's a sticky wicket, because we do have, in our employee handbook, which is actually adopted by the board in 2009, so why Tom Kruger did I don't know why, but basically says that no employees of the township will carry a firearm during, work hours. My question is, is the water department going to want to start carrying, because when they go shut off, they have to shut water off from a customer too. I mean, that's just things we have to consider.
They probably get threatened more than I do.
Yeah, they probably, especially,
I can tell you that.
especially when someone's in the shower with shampoo in their hair and we turn it off and they come.
Just to clarify on that $1,000 premium, Artie, there's an email in here from, I'm assuming, our legal regarding our liability insurance provider, where it does say a premium charge of approximately $1,000 will be added to your premium, the approximate cost per law enforcement officer for this exposure.
Okay, I think that was from staff.
So in other words, if we have 10 officers or
I don't
20
know, I was
officers,
gonna
it would
ask
take
him about that.
$20,000?
Yeah,
Yes, the police department has the majority of our liability.
yeah. We're gonna have to adjust the budget.
They respond to crimes, I don't, So to charge the same price for me as a uniformed police officer is not the same, not even close.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would disagree, but I'm going to go an exact opposite end of that, stating that the police officers have to state and maintain the training on an annual basis while you don't.
Yeah.
So if I'm insuring you as an employee or insuring a police officer, I know the police officer's training is a lot more current than yours. And I
That's true.
think that's how the insurance company would view that.
But police officers get training on, first aid and they get training on all kinds of stuff that don't apply to me. I only train that could possibly apply would be firearms training.
And qualification, right?
Yeah.
This is
What
all
kind of
liability
qualification?
insurance, it's not
Yeah,
overall
I
employee
get that.
insurance. This is all based on the liability aspect. And unfortunately, when you're talking about a firearm, there's not a whole lot of difference. Once you use the word firearm, it doesn't matter, they don't really care what you're doing. It's the same liability exposure when you have a firearm on you.
Truthfully, I'm really torn on this because, I have my own concealed weapons permit and, I have a few guns and.
I do as well.
And, and I carry mine sometimes. And I can understand why Jim would want to carry it, but it's, like I say, it's a sticky wicket, where does it stop, where does it start? And I'm all about personal freedoms as far as with firearms. I had a discussion last week with Dan Lowers about this very same thing when we had office hours here. And you know what? When there's a bad guy in the room that has a gun, I'm hoping and praying there's a couple good guys that have guns at the same time. I get that, and I understand that, and and Jim presented himself well with his concerns. I mean, I did tell him, well, if you think you're going to be in a bad place, bring a cop with you, but he can't tell the future either. He could be someplace where.
That was a question I was just going to ask, yeah.
Yeah, where okay, I should have brought a cop, but I didn't, type
Well,
thing.
And the general attitude in the last couple of years against anybody with, law enforcement or any kind of authority, they're getting gunned down on the streets for nothing, they're getting shot at, sniped at, and stuff like that. Now, of course, I don't expect that to happen here, but you never know. You never know. Some guy could walk up and just shoot you, And I'd like to at least have a chance to defend myself.
I want to back up just a minute on the handbook that says no weapons in the workplace. Now, you can construe that as being in this building. No firearms in this building. If you're outside this building, and to my opinion, if you have a CPL, you have the right to carry it, as long as you're off of this building and off of the site.
But his workplace is out on the streets.
That's his, well, but I think this is, as I said, I think this is construed for a workplace inside this building. I've written many procedures concerning firearms, all right? And that's pretty generally what we said is inside of a building and inside of the workplace, meaning a building proper.
So you don't have people going postal.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. So,
Mr. Pro, when you came up,
And as a retired police officer, you have the right to carry
yeah,
your
that's
pistol.
all I'm asking for. The guy
So what's going to
that left that threatening voicemail
Yeah.
on my office phone, he's carrying a gun, and he's threatening me, but you're saying I can't carry a gun. That doesn't make sense to me. I like to think
Now, I'm just throwing this out. You're authorized by the state of Michigan to carry a weapon without any other necessary requirements. Okay?
Chief Coach,
Does
do you have
that
anything
supersede,
additional?
does that supersede a handbook?
Constitution. The MTA, which I don't know, that they say it's
Board
to the
decision.
My thing, and my issue with this, I think I've talked to everybody here, is this. Absolutely, I respect Jim as retired law enforcement all the way, and I respect what Jim is looking to do here. Where I come into play here is when you start talking about the insurance company, and the insurance company is saying, well, you have to qualify as a police officer, same as a police officer, the same as we do. That puts the ball in my court. Ultimately, then, that makes my firearms instructors responsible and liable, and ultimately makes me, as the head of the department, liable. Okay? That is something I'm not willing to take on, that somebody that I am not supervising on a daily basis. And no offense to you, Jim, at all. Okay? If it's someone that I'm supervising on a daily basis, that's a different story. But the thing is, I don't. I mean, I see Jim in passing and that, and Jim works for the building department. If it's someone that we're qualifying, we're keeping them up to date, and we are making sure their training and the level of training is proficient to where we have to sign out and document that, and God forbid, go to court to testify on that, ultimately it comes down to the last man standing, which is me. And with that being said, I would have to know that I've got my finger on the pulse, and it's an employee of mine and not someone outside my department. So, I mean, what I would recommend is the township wants to look at this avenue, maybe the township needs to look at maybe putting the code enforcement and Mr. Frott under the purview of the police department.
That could be an option.
Because, and I absolutely understand where Jim's coming from. Okay, we got a lot of people out there that, you know, they get quite upset. No different with Jim as in with us. And you don't know what kind of situation you'll be put in. And I know the way times are, that's getting worse and worse. But at the end of the day, I've got to look at it from a litigious standpoint. And I've talked to several other colleagues on this matter, and I've talked to other chiefs on this matter. And that's why you're seeing more and more that code enforcement is becoming part of the police department for these reasons. I think at that point, even as a standpoint, if it becomes a litigious situation, you're not taking someone who got into an altercation and saying, well, they work for the Clay Township Building Department. No, you're saying they work for the Clay Township Police Department. They are a member of the police department. Now, it's different. We've got a totally different understanding. We work together hand in hand on a day-to-day basis. We know each other a lot better. We know each other's practices a lot better. And then we feel comfortable with each other. I mean, when I take and I hire somebody, I do a complete and thorough background, and it usually takes 2 months. Going door to door. Find out this, I'm not talking about Jim, of course. But this is what we do. And that's to satisfy our own conscience and knowing down the road, okay, when we're hiring this person, we know everything about them, we know we're putting our name on the dotted line for it. So that's the only thing I would urge, is if it comes down to that, then I think we should look at doing something like that. And, you know, I think the two of them kind of go hand in hand. You know, we both work with the courts the same way. I mean, at this point, we try to work together, and sometimes it becomes difficult, depending on the situation, where I think that would make things a lot easier then as well.
Makes a lot of sense.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
I'm
I,
thinking.
of course, have a response to that if you don't mind.
No.
And that, if that's what you want to do, you might as well just let the police department handle all that stuff. But my other response is, as a municipality, you call an insurance company as a customer, right? You're the customer. The insurance company, you know, they can make recommendations, but if you don't like what they're doing, you can shop another insurance company or say, we don't like this, we'd like to make an exception to this, and why wouldn't they do it?
They'll do anything for the right amount of money.
I mean, I don't think you'd have to be a brain surgeon to figure out that being a code enforcement officer is way different than being a police officer.
Right.
And, you know, we all know what they're talking about is lawsuits involving firearms. And, you know, they have way more opportunity to get involved in something like that than I do.
I think I myself need more information to make this decision. I myself I want to talk more to our insurance company and to our legal counsel about maybe, you know.
And some other communities that maybe they have.
Yeah, most of them don't allow it. There is a guy that works for a few different ones that open carries that I know, not concealed, but open carries, and he has a old cop car, and he actually has a uniform with a badge, but it's not a police, you know, and
That's a little.
I think that's
That's a little
a
over
little
the,
sketchy for me, a little
That's a little-
borderline
Yeah.
person.
myself, it's a little over the top.
Wannabe.
But I myself, to feel comfortable, I need to get some more information. And I do share Jim's concerns. Sometimes he can be in a tough situation. And, you know, maybe it is an option. We put code enforcement under the police department because they enforce our codes too. So I myself, I need more information.
That being said, I think we should just, bring this up at another meeting after you find out some more information.
I'll make a
and
motion
share
to
it.
postpone.
Would it be
Motion.
worthwhile to establish a committee?
We could. First, I think we should postpone it.
Yeah.
And then.
I'll make a motion to postpone.
Well, what are we postponing? Because the only thing on the agenda was just a request for him to
Yeah,
address the board.
yeah, we're not
Yeah.
making any
Yeah.
action, so I guess we don't have to even postpone it.
No.
That we bring it up, that I'm making a recommendation to bring it up at another time.
You think we should put a little committee to look at this? What do you think, trustees?
Well, request agenda items for the next meeting. Anybody
Yeah.
wants to feel they have enough reasoning to bring it up, they can.
Mr. Proud, when you took the podium, you stated that you did have insurance. Do you carry liability insurance?
I have homeowner insurance,
Okay.
you know.
That's not going to cover us, though.
So it's
I
nothing
understand.
specific to your firearm is, I think, what Chris was asking.
Yeah, I would just,
You know, my thinking is, I'm giving that, the town, like I explained to Artie, if they're charging you guys, the insurance is charging you guys by the head, for the police department, and I have no idea. If a guy leaves and goes to another department, do they cut your insurance because that guy left? I doubt it. You know what I mean?
No, it's the same thing they do with our cars. When we sell a car or we buy another car, for that remaining premium, there's no adjustment for the adding or the
Right.
subtracting. But come the new renewal time, which we just did in June, renewed for the next year, it is what it is at that time.
Inventory.
Okay. I
And
get
the
that.
premium doesn't fluctuate for adding or subtracting until the next year.
Okay. Okay. So there's risk on both sides?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Another comment I made is if, we're in a litigious society these days, and if I do get involved in something out there, I don't want to lose my home to some idiot with 2 teeth that walks around with a 45 and, doesn't even know how to spell my name. And that shouldn't be on me when I'm just trying to do my job.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. One thing I'd want to bring up, and actually, I'm sorry for the board, I was going to include it in my supervisor's report, but I failed to. Our last meeting, we had a lady address us with a problem against Mr. Pott. He said he laughed at her.
Yep.
And I want to tell the board, I researched that. I talked to witnesses that were there and other people in the office, and he did not do that. So that was a false statement. I wanted to make that clear. And also last meeting, we had 2 people address the board that had a couple blight issues. And the one on Audubon, she's totally happy now. The mess was cleaned up by the neighbors. They're good neighbors now. They're all kumbaya. And the one on Point Trumbull, in fact, Jim is dealing with that one, and he's satisfied with our process going so far. So, and,
people have a tendency to say, like the lady tonight, I've complained 5 times or whatever for 10 years. Well, I've only been here just under 5. And she complained to me once, a couple of years ago, and I dealt with the guy. I found out that he was claiming homestead on a house that a rat wouldn't live in.
this person,
So I got him, and we got him for about $7,000.
yeah, he's not homestead
I
anymore.
get great pleasure out of doing that, because they're cheating me, they're cheating everybody here, and the schools. And that really, if I get them, I'm in assessing immediately. And we try to get them, you know, for what the law allows. But they exaggerate. And then when you tell them, like I had a discussion with her before the meeting, I said, there is no ordinance on the books that can allow me to do that. They don't believe that, and they don't want to hear that. But I tell people, I can't enforce ordinances that don't exist. So, you see, go to the board. We really, in her case, we need a property maintenance ordinance that would have to be started by Sid and then go through planning and all that.
Start with the planning commission.
Then it would be a open and shut case. Because there's a lot of houses like that. And there's one, 4 or 5 doors from me, it's the same thing. And I go to Sid, what can we do? Nothing.
Yeah, if there's a house, yeah, it's secure, but there's no siding on it. You know, or finished siding.
And I you know,
We
the
can't.
people inside at night, I said, you have to call the police on it. Oh, why would I do that? I said, I don't know. Don't call me. Call the police if there's people in the house.
Right, that shouldn't be.
Yeah. So, anyway. Okay, thanks for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
So, that being said,
Motion to adjourn.
well, no, we have board member comments.
You got a hot date?
Come on, this is the good part. This is the good part.
This is the best part.
Yeah. Sandy, how you doing down here?
Doing great, how are you?
Good. Got anything for us?
I just want to thank the people who have been coming out the last couple of meetings and offering some public comments. Hearing constructive, I wouldn't say criticism, but bringing topics to our attention is always a good thing. A couple of us walked down to the pier after last meeting after, I think his name was Joe,
Yes, Joe.
addressed us about the pier and took note of some things, and I know quite a few of us want to see some follow-up on those items. So I just wanted to let everybody know that
We're actually
We do
working on
listen and we
getting a
do-
camera down there that auto feeds into the dispatch.
although I'm not sure who would want to go down there and cause trouble because we were carried away by about 1 million mosquitoes, but
Bad this year.
we went out there and walked it anyway.
Good.
That's all I got.
Chris?
Just a quick shout out to our department heads, Chief Coach, Chief Rose, and John DeBoyer from the Water Department. I feel like our township's under some really good leadership right now, and I'm appreciative of them.
Thank you. I agree with that, too. Whoa. Christie?
Treasury Department would like to thank Abby Osterland for her service. It was very nice working with her in the time that I've been here, and we wish her the best of luck at school, and we are excited for Diane to go full-time.
Likewise. Abby's a good kid. And she was kind of quiet and kind of timid and dealing with people, and now she's not so much. It's a good thing. So I think she's got some confidence, and, you know, it was a good program. Maybe we'll even pick up another intern. I like it myself. Mark?
Planning Commission meeting scheduled for July 26th, Wednesday. It's a public hearing on removing an item out of the ordinance that requires non-alcoholic beverages or liquor served at or sold at a gas station. And we're going to remove that item. But there is a public hearing, so that's all I have.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I always have concerns about ordinances and enforcement. And Jimmy knows I go in there and bend his ear on occasion. Did you check this place out? Have you been by this place? And sometimes I think he hates to see me come in there.
Goes out the back door when you come in the front.
Goes out the back door. And, but an ordinance is only as good as its enforcement. And so I do pay attention as I wander around the township, and, because I have the best interests of the people that do follow the rules and try to make this a better, you know, a good place and a better place to live, so.
Right.
That's about all I have to say.
I'm going to expound on that, too, because everyone ends up I know.
You guys are killing me.
Everyone ends up calling me, and I tell them, you know what, I don't care what the ordinance says, well, I do, but it's all about being a good neighbor. You know, and that's what Audubon, I said, you know, I called the guy up, and I know Jim had conversations with him, just clean up your mess, be a good neighbor, you're gonna live next to these people. And he did right away, and then the gal called me up and said, oh my God, they cleaned up the mess, and everything's great. I said, well, you know what, do me a favor, next time you see him, thank him, don't thank me. Thank him for doing it, and, you know, let's be good neighbors, and really, that's all a lot of it boils down to.
And most of our neighbors are good.
Yeah. As they are in Colony Isles with
Yes.
meat and cheese trays for
Yes.
bridge builders. Cindy?
Yes, I'd like to welcome Mike Hoag at the fire department. I'd also like to thank Abby Osterlin for her service here. It was a pleasure having her here for the last 6 or 7 months, I think she was here. Hope she takes some of the things she learned here and helps her get through college a little bit better, maybe. Also, I went on the clerk's professional development retreat with my deputy, Janet Garaga, last week, Wednesday, Thursday. Learned a lot, brought a lot of information back, and hopefully you'll be seeing some of it come up on the board packets soon.
Good. And one thing you'll see, I talked to Cindy about this, and whenever I go on these trainings with a lot of other townships.
How many board member comments do you get?
One for every one.
Well, you don't get that into it.
I want to get another one or two.
Yeah. You'll realize that you know more than you think. And you also realize, you know, we're in pretty good shape compared to other places. You know, it's, sometimes you look at all the stuff that's in front of you and we have to do, but.
We're in real good shape compared to.
Yeah.
Real good shape.
You know, it's obvious, so you'll find that out. What do I have to say?
I have one more thing I'd like to say. I want to make Cindy keep writing. All of you know how important I think education is. I preached that to you from the day you walked in here. And I am so happy that you choose to go to those and learn, because you always learn something.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
still learning, and I've been doing it a long time.
How long, Joanne?
Oh, golly, I don't know. Whenever somebody quits, they say, Joanne, would you fill this spot? I don't count the years too much, you know, so. It's been a few, quite a few.
Yeah, I don't really have anything specific to say. You know what, it's been busy here. The office has been real busy, and I tell you what, we have a lot of positive things going on here. I'm excited. I'm working on some positive things going forward, which is going to be fun too, and really help our community out and make it a better place to live and raise families and work, so. That's all I have.
Stay positive, and I'll say motion to adjourn.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's get out of here. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, thanks for coming, everybody. No questions for the press? Boring.